Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Big Chelsea news being brought to you this afternoon. Young Aage Fjortoft has tweeted, shared news from Germany has come out this afternoon in relation to Kai Havertz and his potential move to Chelsea. Very almost contradictory potentially to what we heard last night. And as you know, what we do here at the Football Terrace, we go through the news, we go through what's being said, we take your views and your opinions on it. Skype lines are open. Search the Football Terrace if you want to come on and have your say. And I will try and pronounce his name correctly again. Young Aage Fjortoft. I think that's how you pronounce it. I am trying my best. It's very difficult for a man who's dyslexic to say his name. Has said that it's been reported from Bild that Chelsea have got a deadline to agree a fee with Leverkusen. That deadline is the 28th of August. That is when Bayer Leverkusen are set to return to training. Chelsea have been told to sort it out before that date. Kai Havertz wants to join Chelsea. As we know, Chelsea are in pole position. The rest is about money. So Chelsea fans, I want to ask you this question. Is this Jadon Sanchez 2.0? Is this like many of us have predicted all along, that these big signings are in some way intertwined? No, so it's like people are waiting for the first person to crack. People are waiting for the first club to say, all right, we yield. There's what you want. Or actually, we're not going to pay it and set a precedent. Is that what we're waiting for here? A deadline of the 28th. I also find interesting here, it was reported from multiple outlets that this deal was almost done 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was hours away, days away. Are we seeing a situation where maybe, just maybe, these teams are the selling teams are pushing it near the edge, then pulling it away, pushing it and pulling it away to gain more money, to make players force transfer requests? Of course, when we have young Aage Fjortoft, I'm going to say it again, I've got to keep saying it right, on the show Friday, we're going to go through that with him. But I want your views and opinions. Please smash the like button for us right about now. Want to know what you think. Want to know what you think. First up on the show, we have Brian who's calling in. Brian, welcome to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say? Hi, Brian. Hi, what do you want to say, buddy? Who do you support?
I support
who?
Man United.
Man United. So we're here talking about Kai Havertz to Chelsea. Reportedly a deadline very similar to that Dortmund set Manchester United. What's your views and opinions?
I just think it's Leverkusen trying to force Chelsea to get the deal done.
Of course. By the way, I want to correct that. I think I might have said Jadon Sanchez earlier. Everyone knows I meant to say Jadon Sancho. That's just a little slip of the tongue there. Of course, Bayer Leverkusen are trying to... I think Bayer Leverkusen are not so much forcing Chelsea to get the deal done. I think they're trying to force the money up. They want more money than Chelsea are offering. And setting a deadline is what they're trying to do. A comment here says, Terry, are you concerned about Man United's transfers? Not so much. I really feel there's loads of these deals are lined up. Loads of these deals have got the potential to move forward and go ahead. We are just simply waiting. Thank you for your call, by the way, Brian. We're just waiting for a club to twist. We're waiting for somebody to say, oh, we'll make the first move. And I don't think that's going on right now. Next up on the show, we've got Man Like Ram. Hashtag 2Backer. 2Backer, welcome to the show.
Right, that's not gonna go away, is it?
No, 2Backer. We're calling Ram 2Backer because he never says anything with his chest. Hashtag 2Backer. We added Jem to the line as well. We'll go to you first, Ram. What do you make of this deadline that's been set? I'm going to say the name again. Young Aage Fjortoft. I'm getting there with it. Right? I'm even trying the tongue. I'm trying to get the pronunciation right. As said, there's a deadline, as reported from the German outlet. I think it's, how do you pronounce Bild? How are you pronouncing that? Is it Blind, Build? I don't know. I'm not German, but listen, what do you make of it?
I mean, I obviously expect this because obviously Kai Havertz is one of the most promising young players in the entire world, and they want the money. They want a lot of money for the guy because they see it. Everyone sees that he's going to be a top player. So it's standard, really. They just want the money. They want as much money as possible. And if Chelsea are going to if they're going to make a deal out of it, Chelsea has to be a little bit shrewd about their business.
I agree. I agree. They need to be. Jem, what you saying, bro?
Not bad. How are you? You all right?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. What do you reckon about this deal?
I think what's happened with this deal is I think that Leverkusen have watched Dortmund and the way Man United and Dortmund have been, talking in the last couple of weeks, and I think that they're trying to probably follow suit. They think because Dortmund can get away with it by trying to hold out for the value, I think that they're trying to do the same. And I think that's where the problem lies, because I don't think the problem's. I think the fee is the problem, but I think it's just the way Chelsea are probably negotiating the fee. I think ideally, they'd like to pay an upfront fee and then maybe negotiate it across a couple of years to pay off.
There's a super chat here from Daniel that says, if you read the report, the report implies the deal has been agreed. The deadline is for the official bid. Chelsea are just getting the marketing ready, in my opinion. No, I mean because they could get the official bid in and get things done and get the marketing done at the same time. I think. Again, that might be Daniel's interpretation. I need to read the full article. Of course, when we get Jan on the show, on the show on Friday, we'll go through it with him. I think it's more what you've said, Jem. I think it's the structuring of the deal, how much comes up front, and how the add-ons will work. And of course, Leverkusen want the money to be paid up front, but I think it's right for them to set a deal. And as you've said, I think this is connected in the same way as the Jadon. It's why I'm relaxed about Jadon Sancho until I actually start. I had someone say to me today, Arsenal. The way they worded this message, this DM to me was, they went, Arsenal have signed Willian, Gabriel's done, Partey's done, and they got a Saliba coming in. What are Man United doing? And same with Chelsea. Another person messaged me, I can't believe it. Chelsea have signed Ziyech and Werner. They've signed Chilwell. They've signed Havertz. What are we doing? I'm sitting there thinking, you do realize that quite a few of those deals that have been mentioned haven't actually been concluded yet. And if this Chelsea deal protrudes till the end of August, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe Chelsea will get it done, but I almost feel like I want Chelsea to get it done. I think once one of these big deals happen, I think you'll see more follow suit, including Man United. I really do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree 100%. I think as soon as either the Sancho deal or the Havertz deal kicks off, because you've got to bear in mind, we actually haven't had, like you said, another major signing since maybe Werner, isn't it, really? So I think everyone's waiting for that next big signings to come through the door, and then I just think it will be all hell's loose. I think you'll start seeing a lot more signings coming across all Premier League clubs, to be honest. So let's see.
No, I hear that. A DJ come here and says, hello, Terry. I messaged last week saying this could be another Jadon Sancho situation. I still don't get why, though. He will go cheaper next season. These clubs, I agree with the sentiment of that. I think Leverkusen and Bayern and Dortmund respectively should just look to get these deals done. But who knows what their motivation is?
If Sancho has a bad season next season, say he doesn't go Man United this season and he doesn't perform to the standard that he did this season, do you think he will lose value?
100%. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. If next season he scores and assists a combined 15, 16 goals, has a bad 4 or 5 months period. Say just has one of those seasons that some young players do early on in their careers, he'll lose value, and that's the risk that you take sometimes. It's happened to multiple players. Like, look how much you paid Everton for Ross Barkley? 15 mil? Something like that?
Yeah, 15, yeah, saying that, 15, 16.
If you go back to sort of 2012, 2013, Ross Barkley, people were talking 50 odd million pounds then. So if Everton would have struck where the iron was hot and sold him, then it would have been okay. Do you get where I'm coming from? There's certain times where players kind of peak in relation to their valuation and whatnot. And I think that Sancho might have that bad season. He might then come good after it because he's young, but of course then they go into that final year of his contract if no one buys him next year. So it's a real interesting one from my point of view. And I think both with the Kai Havertz deal and Sancho deal, I just want Chelsea and Man United to lay the marker down. The problem that you have is they're being dragged over the coals for those deals. Put it this way, football's a small world in the circles of it. If Leicester get hold of the fact that you pay 20 million above what most people think is a sensible price for Kai Havertz, then they're going to bump that up with Chilwell. then you think if you spend an extra 20 million on both those players, that's 40 million pound gone. Maybe that's the difference between you getting a centre back this summer and not, a new goalkeeper this summer and not. And fans have got to take that into consideration, that there isn't a bottomless supply of money, even at the biggest clubs. And, you know, I don't want my club really to be hemorrhaging money on all deals. Although I'm desperate for Jadon to come in. I'm sure you feel very similar when it comes to Kai Havertz.
Terry, go on to your point about how sometimes when you wait another season, the price might be lowered a little bit. Wouldn't it work the other way around? Say if Jadon Sancho exceeds what he did the season that just finished and does even better.
Of course it could, and there's no doubt with all these situations. It's like with Liverpool. You know, there's a lot of people. There is a report I read today that you will not go above £27 million for Thiago, for a player whose contract runs out next year. You'd rather wait till January to go for him, sign him up, get him for free next year, let Genie play out his contract. Now I understand the business mentality and the financial element as to why you would do that. The problem you have is if you're Liverpool, if you don't click as well next season and you don't retain your title, fans are going to come for you because you had the opportunity to sign that player sooner. You know, and this is with Man United. Let's say we don't get Sancho and we scrape into or just miss out on top four, or actually we do something else where we almost win something, but with him we could have done. Fans will be annoyed. Do you get where I'm coming from? I think, if we just had him as well, it'd have been great. So you're always weighing up these options. You're always taking a gamble whether you sign someone or not. Look at when Man United signed Alexis Sanchez. Everyone said it was amazing. When Chelsea signed Fernando Torres, oh my God, what a signing. Every one of our clubs. I remember when Liverpool signed Benteke. It was seen as a masterstroke move. Didn't happen. It doesn't always work out. So I find it interesting, really, that we sometimes we're so polarized in our views, but we're polarized, but we literally flip between our two opinions every couple of weeks, depending on which player it is. Like a lot of United fans are, don't pay too much for players. Don't waste money like we did on Maguire. Just pay whatever the club's asking when it's a player they want. There's no logic, there's no consistency, but I suppose that's what we've got to deal with as fans watching.
Terry, sorry, Jem, go ahead. No, this is some other thing. You go ahead, Jem.
No, go on. I was just going to say, in terms of Jadon Sancho, if you don't sign Jadon Sancho for this season, does it affect where Manchester United finish next season?
Yeah.
Even with the Greenwoods and the Martial.
Yeah, because we don't have the strength. We don't have the strength in depth, and all it takes is an injury to one of those guys, and we're back to square one. We need Jadon Sancho, in my opinion, to elevate us further. We need other signings as well. I think they're more inclined to. I think a lot of those other deals are more inclined to happen should we sell other players as well. If we can get rid of the majority of people. Sorry,
the reason I said that was because, from our perspective as a Chelsea fan, if we don't sign Kai Havertz, but then we improve our...
Again, it's if we don't get Sancho, but Arte, we brought in Gabriel and Tagliafico, I would be happy. I think we then added a great deal of depth. There's some extra quality in there as an example. But if we don't land Jadon Sancho, and then we just go out and sign Gabriel, and we sign like a backup left back, then I'm worried that we're not going to. I'm happy with the squad we've got. That I think we can still make top four with that squad, but it'll be a push for. We'll scrape into the top four. It'll be a tough fight to get top four. Where I feel that if we sign Sancho and then others around him, top four almost feels like a guarantee, in my opinion.
Yeah, Terry, I've been reading a couple of reports about if the Jadon Sancho deal doesn't work, that you might go in for Douglas Costa from Juventus.
Hope not.
What are your thoughts on that?
Hope not.
No. No. I don't think he improves the squad, really, does he? He's injury prone as well. He don't even play for them, does he?
I'm a bit like this. If we're going to sign, like for me, when it comes to signing particular positions now, I would rather not sign anybody and give an academy player a chance than a misfit from another top club. So we made that mistake with, and I don't even mean it in a rude way, right? We made that mistake with Bastian Schweinsteiger. as a general rule, unless they go into the final year of their contract, and unless they go into the final year of their contract, a bit like the Thiago situation, Bayern Munich don't allow players with 2 or 3 years remaining on their contracts to simply just leave. They only they don't. If they're like top players that they need and they've got a fair amount of time left on their contracts, they don't just let these players go. And I look at someone like Douglas Costa. You know what? He's been at Bayern Munich, only lasted 2 years. He's been at Juve, you know, in his first season, he played quite a bit, but since then he's been a secondary string player. So I sort of look at it like he's been at 2 major clubs and hasn't cut the mustard. What makes anybody think at 29 years old he's going to come to Man United and be better? I mean, you look at it this way, right? So he'd be playing the same position as, like, in his career, right, goal-wise. So he'll play as an inside forward at Man United now position. He's never scored above 7 goals. And he has played at Juve and Bayern Munich, the 2 most dominant teams in those leagues. Mason Greenwood has outperformed him on outputs already in his career for, like, the position that he plays in. Like, we've got Matt Rashford, who's scoring 20-plus goals. Costa's not on that level. So for me, I would be happy with a Costa coming in if we signed Jadon Sancho and we signed a Douglas Costa, and Costa's the backup guy. I'm happy. But Douglas Costa is not good enough to make Man United certainties in the top 4, push us towards a title and winning major trophies. His outputs in his career tell us that. He's gone to 2 big clubs and they don't want him. And that's also my issue with Kingsley Coman. Like, look where he's been in his career. None of those clubs have been sold on him. Like, that tells me something about him that it's got to be saying wrong. I don't know what it is, but do you get where I'm coming from? It just don't feel right to me. For me, it's a big fat no to Costa. If he's coming in to be the main guy, for me, it's a no.
If it was a Gnabry, then I'd probably say yeah, because his output's different compared to these 2 players that he's talking about. He has a big input in terms of the Bayern squad, in terms of goals, assists. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's got more influence,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
13 goals last season, 21 goals this season. Like, that's what the levels I'm talking about. I'm talking about players with goal contribution outputs of goals and assists that are, when you add them together, are 25 to 30 plus a season and have that same great technical ability as the players have already got. If we're not, that's what I want to drop the money on, because nothing's a guarantee. You don't know what's going to come up, but you want that. We need the outputs. And for me, I look at Acosta. Yeah, there might be loads of flicks and tricks and good dribbles, but what's he doing at the end of it all? Very, very little. So for me, like, we've got Jesse Lingard, who is only marginally worse. So I don't see the point of spending the money for someone who's only a little bit better than what we've already. He's better than the fringe players we've got, but he's nowhere near as good as our first team players. So it makes no sense to me. You know, drop the money on Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is better than Douglas Costa. Fact, in my opinion.
No, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. And plus, he's got the Premier League experience as well, isn't he, Jack Grealish? So you can't go wrong with him in that sense as well. But I think Man United just need to be patient, same as Chelsea. Don't think we should be like pulling our hairs out, worrying about it. I do think with the Sancho, I think the only worry with the Sancho deal is that he hasn't come out himself and said that he wants to leave. I think Kai Havertz hasn't. So that's the only thing that I think.
Yeah, what I would say to that is he doesn't need to, though. He agreed personal terms. You don't agree personal terms if you're not if a company comes and offers you a new job tomorrow and you agree to I'd take that salary and that pension and that bonus scheme, you're thinking of leaving. You don't have to announce it, but do you get where I'm coming from? So I get your point, but I don't actually think Kai Havertz has said it publicly either in an interview.
He's gone to the CEO apparently, supposedly.
Right, okay. Cool. And I'm not disbelieving that. I think he does want to leave. I think he's joined, but he feels the same as Sancho's. He's agreed personal terms. The only difference probably being is Dortmund a slightly bigger club and got a slightly bigger reputation of being hardened in the transfer market. But I see both protruding in that way. I really, really do. Let's do some of these live comments in here. Someone said Grealish is overpriced. See, the Grealish being overpriced thing's interesting because Villa have made a point in the last 4 or 5 days of going to the media and saying we've never declared a price. So that tells me that £80 million talk was media talk. I don't think there's any substance to that. I still think Grealish will go this summer and he goes for £40 to £50 million, which I don't think is overpriced. What do you boys think?
I don't think he's worth any more than 50 million. He's not an £80 million player. But he has got the potential. He's good on the ball. I think he's the most foul player in the Premier League, isn't he? If I'm right.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, not to say he's a diver, but obviously he's got the ability, hasn't he, with the ball? And I think he would have a difference on the Man United team. I don't think, like we said, Douglas Costa or someone like a Coleman would, but someone like Grealish would come in and he would have an effect, even if he come off the bench. So that's my opinion on Grealish.
How about yourself, Chewbacca?
I think for me it'd be around about 30 to 40 million pounds. I think technically he's a very gifted player. One thing is also important, that he's a personality, and he's got a lot of leadership in him, because he's obviously born in Birmingham and he's an Aston Villa captain as well. So I think those qualities are not to be underestimated. So yeah, I think 30 to 40 million pounds is a good price for a player like Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I think it's fans have also got to. It's like when I see this thing with Kai Havertz, I look at it and I'm like, it's interesting how, like, a big report today, Liverpool not prepared to pay the 30 mil for Thiago. That deal's still going to protrude and go on. Chelsea have been set a deadline in the same way that United were with Sancho. Arsenal are still haggling for Gabriel, that's 30 million pounds. They're still haggling with Partey for 42 million pounds. But it's interesting how every club but Man United is positioned and framed in a way where they're trying to do the best deal possible for their club. Where Manchester United is down to incompetence that we haven't got it done. I find that whole, I call it that's like a paradox. It's like a different universe. It's sort of like if Liverpool came out and said we're not, Liverpool have like sold for me a lie to their fans. But I understand it that we're not prepared to pay big money because of the global pandemic. We think it's irresponsible. They've gone along. They've kind of gone for a bit of a Jeremy Corbyn approach to why they're not spending, as an example, and everyone's sort of lapped it up. But if Man United decide they don't want to spend, it's because they've got like blood-sucking owners who don't want to spend money, or they can't get the deals done. I saw someone tweet today about the link of Van de Beek to Barcelona. And they're like, another player that we could have got that we didn't. And I'm like, well, who says? Who says he wants to come here?
Yeah.
It's like every year you could apply that logic for every year of football for the last. Every year, top players move to other top clubs other than yourself. Like what it is, you want him, but just because you want him doesn't mean two things. One, it doesn't mean your manager wants him. Secondly, it doesn't mean the player wants to come. And yet you're getting angry at your club for not landing players just because they don't want to be like. Imagine, like, I can completely understand why Van der Beek is like, Barcelona, Koeman, like Dutch connection. Like, it makes sense for him to want to go there now. Like, I would if I was in Van der Beek's. I'd do that. But it's like, I'm so angry we're not getting him now. But who are you angry with? It's weird.
It's like with for instance, Thiago moved to Liverpool. It makes sense because he'll be surrounded by people that you know, like Firmino, Alisson, Fabinho, even Kai Havertz. He'll be with Timo Werner, and Jadon Sancho will be with the likes of Martial and Maguire, who he knows from playing with England.
Martial for England.
Sorry, not Martial.
Hey, Rashford. I know who you meant, mate. I know. Do you always love about doing it? Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
What didn't make sense today, and it came up on my phone earlier, was Joe Hart to Spurs. What's that about?
It's back up, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? Really? Joe
Yeah.
Hart, where is he?
He was back up.
Burnley.
Yeah, he was that third choice at Burnley. It's all it is. He's gone there as a back. Do you know? I always sad about Joe Hart. I remember the World Cup in 2010, and we had him on the bench, I think, and we ended up playing David James, and he made mistakes. And I was like, I can't wait now for Joe Hart to make it in the team. And he kind of had like a 4-5 year period, Joe Hart, where I thought he was brilliant, but goalkeeping has just moved on so far from then that he just became. And I think as soon as he got dropped by City, I think his confidence went, and he's never been the same guy again. It's unbelievable.
It was that 2016 Euros thing.
Yeah,
against Iceland.
Yeah, it just was gone. But I remember that happening to Paul Robertson as well. He was top England #1, top goalkeeper for Tottenham, and then he had a few mistakes, and he just never recovered. It was so strange how his career just fizzled out from being the best in the country to just being almost a laughing stock of a goalkeeper. It's mad how these things happen.
I know we don't talk about Spurs a lot on this channel.
Yeah.
But in general, what do we think of this signing so far? Because to me, they always seem to sign these like mid-average players.
Højbjerg and Joe Hart
don't really seem to have the hunger like the United and Chelsea have to go out and try and spend a bit of money to improve their squads. And I just don't see people like Harry Kane, especially Harry Kane, more so staying there that long.
Well, I saw them linked with Leon Bailey, which I thought, okay, again, that's the kind of signing. But yeah, if we look at it so far, so it's Højbjerg's gone in officially. Well, they've come out some there's extra money for him, but yeah, Højbjerg, Joe Hart, that's it. Oliver Skip's gone out on loan. Carl Walker-Peters is gone. Yeah, so like that's it so far for them.
I don't understand why they bought Højbjerg though, because he doesn't like fit like a Mourinho like system that he usually plays. He's more of a, how do you say it, like an auxiliary midfielder, just has the ball and just passes it around rather than like an athletic kind of player.
It doesn't strengthen their Champions League, contenders for next year. For me personally, you know what I mean? I ain't watched enough of the lad to say if he's a good or bad player, but signing someone from Southampton, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, because look at Van Dijk, he went to Liverpool and he's now amazing. But Højbjerg, I'm not watching enough of him to think that it's going to help Tottenham's chances next season to get a Champions League spot. Do you know what I mean?
He's a decent player, but I don't know why Tottenham got him. I don't think they really needed him. I think that was just like extra. They should have.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting when you look at the actual transfers that have happened so far. Like you look at you go through club, you look at arrivals here. I'm looking at arrivals so far this summer. There just hasn't been very, very many, if that makes sense, just across like not a lot's going on, if you get where I'm coming from at the moment. And I think that's where I sort of feel like these deals with Kai Havertz and Partey, and even look at City, right? I know City have only just gone out of the Champions League in the last week. And yes, they signed Torres, and yes, they signed Ake. But most people thought by now they would be doing a madness. Like they would have landed 3, 4, 5 players, but no one's done anything. And that's why I think that fans have got to be like relaxed. Man United and Man City have now got a full month off. We will miss the opening weekend of the season. Our clubs, they'll have that off because we went an extra week into European football. So there's a month that these clubs have got to get their squads. There isn't going to be a pre-season. So, like normally, and this is why I think it's different about signing players as well. Normally, you would end the season 3 or 4 weeks off, and then you start pre-season. You want your new players in. Between the end of May and like the beginning of July, you want to get your players in so they can integrate in pre-season. There isn't going to be a pre-season in that way. By the time the players come back to training in sort of a week or so's time, there's going to be like 2 or 3 weeks of training before the season starts. And it isn't going to be like a normal pre-season sessions. It's going to be very different. And you'll probably find the way clubs started training from the return of football until now, it's all been planned because they knew they weren't going to get a pre-season. Does that make sense? So I don't necessarily think there is the same. I think you're going to see a lot of deals happening after the football season begins. I really do, because also by then, in another 2 months, we're going to know a little bit more about the stadia. Will stadia be opened? I was watching athletics the other day, and in Monaco, and they were letting fans in again. Let's see how that works. And certain sports are doing it. What will the pushback be? As an example, will there be any outbreaks? Will there be any spikes? You could find by then, we find out where fans are coming back, or half the fans are coming back by October. That changes things dramatically, because it's like, well, actually, you've got additional income coming back in again now. Do we need to sell players, or can we afford to spend more? There's so many little elements that I think will change it from a financial standpoint. It's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, I am surprised. How long ago did the season finish now? 3 weeks ago? And there hasn't been a major signing yet, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it will happen. Like you said, I just think we just got to be patient and wait for the first big team to make that move, as I say.
Completely agree. Any other rumours out there that have caught your eye today that you think are interesting?
To be honest, I haven't done much because I'm in Centre Parks at the moment, so I haven't really.
Oh, nice.
I've been following the news today. Other than I heard about the Barcelona manager being Koeman and Joe Hart going there, I've not heard much really. What about you, Ram?
Yeah, not much has happened. I haven't seen anything that's really Only thing that stands out is a couple of Premier League clubs are looking at Ryan Brewster to take him out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what he does. One I read is that Watford are willing to sell Decore for £25 million. Now, let me ask you both this question. Liverpool, United, Chelsea. Would you take a Decore as a backup player for £25 million?
Yeah.
I think he gives us something we probably need in terms of someone that will just sit and hold. Probably protect the back a bit better from our side of things, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if he's happy to sit behind Fabinho as the second choice DM, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, well, Everton have put a bid in, which has been rejected, I understand, and they're saying that they want 25 million. And I look at him, he's definitely a 25 million pound player, if not more. I think that's very, very cheap. But of course, he went down though, didn't they? They went down and got relegated, so that always leaves things out. Claudio Bravo has left Man City is another one. Arsenal have been signing more academy players. Did you hear about the David Silva situation with Lazio and Real Sociedad?
Yeah, I've heard about that. That was a bit of a weird one. But,
that's a great story to prove a point I've been pushing for weeks now. That the Lazio deal had a here we go from Fabrizio.
Yeah.
And then again, because the thing with all journalists, whether you're credible tier ones like Fabrizio, like Jan, like Christian, you're only given information that you're given. They're not in control of David Silva. If David Silva suddenly has agreed everything, he hasn't signed on the dotted line yet, but he's agreed everything. And then he gets a phone call one evening from somebody from Real Sociedad saying, look, do you want to come back to Spain? We're willing to pay you X, get you here, do this. And he changes his mind. There's not that's not Fabrizio's fault. Like Fabrizio's information wasn't wrong at the time. Times have just changed. And I always remember going through these situations in Willian's another great example. There would have been Tottenham journalists everywhere who were going on socials going, it's a done deal. And that's because somebody, they might have interviewed him who's going in for his medical type thing. And he's sitting there like in a show. I mean, Nabil Fekir filmed his welcome to Liverpool video. He filmed, he did his medical and he sat there and filmed an interview and did a whole little thing. It was all ready to go. He was all but a Liverpool player. Everything was ready. And then Liverpool pulled the plug, or Leon pulled the plug, whoever you want to believe, it don't really matter. But that deal was done. Is it the journalist's fault of Liverpool that someone changed their mind at the 11th hour? That's why I would say that's why for me, done deals, like here we goes, total agreements mean it's transfer complete. When you see me, like not me, when I use that language is when it's done, it's all over. But you can have a deal done. And I think that's what's happened with Leverkusen and Dortmund. I think that we've had these situations where the deals have all been done, pretty much done. Cool. And then suddenly out of nowhere, actually, and why do I know this? I do transfer negotiations for a living. And the amount of times I've walked away from meetings, I've fed into my seniors and gone, they've agreed to everything. They're just going to go away. They're going to get it signed. And then bang, free changes to clauses. And actually, can we get a reduction on this coming about 3 or 4 weeks later? And it becomes a battle of attrition. Who is going to crack and yield first? Can we just keep driving down the price? You know, your clients want to drive down the price to increase their margins. You'd like to drive them up if you can because you want to increase margins. That's business. And I think what doesn't get applied enough to the football element is people ignore the business side of things so much. It's a madness.
Definitely. Graham, I've got a quick question for you, actually, as a Liverpool fan.
What is it?
If Liverpool don't make any signings to improve but as like second choice for the front three, we're worried next season about winning the league, especially if Arne or Salah get an injury, because looking at your bench, man.
Yeah. Come on, Tubaka. What are you going to say? Say it with your chest, Tubaka.
Come on. Support your team, bro.
It's look, I'm always going to back the manager, back the club as I've done for the last couple of years. I think what they've done in the last couple of years, they've proven that we need to trust them. But it's a little bit of a worry. But do I feel like the backup players, they can have an impact? Yeah, I do believe that they can do something. But yeah, it's that little niggling in the back of my mind saying maybe if one of them's out, what do we do? So yeah, it's a little bit of a worry, but if nothing's addressed.
You know what I love about it? Why I want it? Like, I want Liverpool not to sign anybody, but then we're still the best team around, and then I want them to lose. I just can't wait for the fallout. And do you know what I love now as well? Season's over. Listen, banter's finished now. Do you know why? Because we're all level peggins. There's no 34. You know, like, you're 33 points behind the champions. Not anymore, we're not. We're level. Like, it's all, for the time being, we're all on level playing field again. We can all chat to each other. This is what I love about this time of the season, when you're in this position where it's like, okay. But we're all in a good space now. We're all in a good space. We're all on level points. Let's see what happens. I'm getting this. I still make Liverpool favourites, and they should be favourites. But I think we're going to get a few more twists and turns and trials and tribulations next year. Comment here says Terry uses the same logic for trashing Costa about not Willian. Just got to make Chelsea fans look bad. See, this is where you're wrong. This is where you're completely and utterly wrong.
Douglas, no, wait. Douglas Costa is known to have an attitude problem at Juventus and at Bayern Munich. That's why he left. That's why Bayern Munich let him leave to go to Juventus because of his attitude problems. Willian doesn't have that problem.
No, so the attitude's one thing. So that's one thing there as an example. Plus, Willian has had 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons where he's scored over 10 goals in all competitions as an example. Costa's never got anywhere near that. In the last 3 years, like he's been doubled. The outputs on goals alone have been doubled by Willian. So he's double the level of productivity. Also, Willian moved in 2013 to one of the biggest clubs in European football and stayed there for 7 years. Won league titles, was a pivotal player, played over 30 games, other than his first season, played over 30 league games a season and played between 40 and 50 plus games a season for his club under multiple managers, Jose, Conte, Sarri, all of these guys. Hiddink, I think, had him for a while, as you mentioned, right? He was a standout. The difference between him and Costa, one, Costa's outputs are lower in terms of goals. I haven't looked at assists, but in goals, so you're wrong there. Secondly, the no attitude problem. Third, my biggest issue with Costa is he's gone to 2 gigantic clubs as a young man, and within a couple of years with each, they want to get rid of him. Willian didn't. Fundamentally, you're absolutely destroyed yourself with that one, mate. Absolutely destroyed yourself. Go on, mate.
Funny enough, they were both playing at Shakhtar Donetsk at the same time, and they were the 2 main Brazilian guys that were.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even realize that until you said it. Yeah,
Douglas Costa was meant to be the better player, but Willian's had a better career.
Much better career.
You can't compare Willian to Douglas Costa whatsoever. The guy's output, the amount of goals he's got, and not just that, he starts for Chelsea.
Well, Willian scored 100 goals in his career compared to 64 of Douglas Costa. So he ain't quite double, but that's a considerable amount more. That's like one guy's 100 goals, the other guy's like 160, 170. That's a big difference. And it isn't just the goals, it's everything else that comes with it. Don't compare the two, mate. You're just going to embarrass yourself, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Your dad's going to ask you to change your surname if you do that again. Don't do it to yourself, son. Don't do it to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Boys, I appreciate you all coming on as ever. Go on, mate. Go on. Yep.
How excited are you about this of tonight's game? Apparently, it's master versus apprentice because Thomas Tuchel told Julian Nagelsmann to go into coaching when he was at Augsburg.
If I'm being honest, 9 p.m. tonight, we've got the official interview with Sam, who's Leicester correspondent, who broke the news about Ben Chilwell coming to Chelsea. He's coming on the show exclusively to reveal all about Ben Chilwell to Chelsea at 9 p.m. tonight. So that's how excited I am about this Champions League game tonight. I'm going to be, I'm doing that. So it's one of the, I'll be honest with you, like it will be on, I'll have it there, but it's not something where I'm watching it going, oh, I can't wait to see it. I'm not a connoisseur of European football, unless there's a vested interest in one of the English teams that I cover on my show. I'll watch it, but it's there. It's on in the back, like background music, like I'm listening to jazz or a saxophone being played. It's there in the background. Do you know what I mean? Like that's me. Don't
be surprised though if Leipzig do want to do them over. You know that. I'm telling you.
It'd be peak. It'd be peak for Paris Saint-Germain to go out and for Neymar to drop a disaster class. I'd love it. Maybe then I'll stream. But anyway, boys, I appreciate you all coming on. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Do me a favor, download Flick. I think it should be working in there now. I know Flawless started a few new tracks. I think we're up to like 700 plus users on there now. But I think our official pixel or our official emoji should be now available to be used in there. They said it was going to be later today. Let's just see if it is. If it ain't in now, I'm going to cry now because I'm bigging it up. Let me have a little butcher's here. Is it there yet?
Let's have a look.
Hang on. They definitely added one because that's been... I can't see mine though. How do I not know what my own logo looks like?
No, I can't see it from mine.
I'm gutted now. Oh, no. They're not added mine yet. But it's coming later today. The Football Terrace logo is on its way. So make sure you get the app downloaded. All the information for the app is inside our description below. But hopefully, yeah, that's going to hopefully be coming a little bit later on today. Great chat going on in there at the moment. Loads of questions. Ben Chilwell deals being discussed. Of course, you can get your it's not on there, but you should be able to get predictions in for later on. I'm not too sure why they're not coming up, but I'll get them added. That's the app. Make sure you get it downloaded right about now. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.